Well, I'll tell you a funny story from my very first ventures into meeting with the faculty. I think it must have been very early in the first fall semester that I was asked to address the faculty senate. I think that's what it was called then. And so I, as a new president and pretty young, I think I was 43 at the time, prepared like mad a statement. And it was full of all kinds of flourishes, and I did my best to write something that sounded serious. And I delivered it to the faculty senate, and I was feeling quite good about it because I thought, you know, that was a well-crafted speech. It was a little long, but it didn't feel too long to me. So the next morning, I went down to the restroom in Jessup Hall, where the president's office is, to wash up. And as I went to dry my hands on the blower there was a little sign, just a very little sign attached to the blower, and it said, "Press this button for a message from the new president." And I thought, oh my gosh, a lot of hot air is what that means. So it was a nice comeuppance. It sort of said, okay, don't overdo it. Don't write long speeches. Just say what needs to be said. I think what I came to appreciate was the fact that you had a very cosmopolitan university with very sophisticated intellectuals all over the place in a rural setting where the values just shone through of Iowans. We got to know quite a few farmers very well. Some of the farmers were big supporters of the university, some were not, but they were just solid people, really good people, who saw it as their responsibility, frankly, to help feed the world. That hit me quite early on. They weren't just producing their crops for Americans. They were producing their crops for Africans, for Asians, and they were aware of that. And they were proud of that, and they took that role seriously. So I'm trying to sort of describe this atmosphere here that was such a combination of different factors. Very, very impressive, without trying to be impressive. I think that's the best way to sum it up. So I've always thought it's important for each university to be its best self and not to try to copy or emulate other universities, no matter how good the other ones might be. Of course, you want to borrow good ideas from other places, but I don't think you want to make yourself into a copy of another institution. So to me, the best thing for the University of Iowa to do is to be its best self. And by that I mean to maintain its strong identity as a liberal arts university, where the arts are prized, where they're an important part of the identity of the place. And that's not true in a lot of other universities. Unfortunately, there has been a trend in American universities away from the liberal arts, especially from the humanities. And I think that's unfortunate. Of course, I'm a humanist, so I'm somewhat biased, I have to admit. But I think you want to maintain your core identity, and here, that has a lot to do with the humanities and the arts. Not exclusively, because Iowa is very strong in some of the sciences, certainly in biomedical research. But I think to maintain that strong tradition in the liberal arts is a very important thing for the University of Iowa to do.